at the bans. Disrupt's going to have the 2 center bans. Beast Coast has the 2 outer bans since they are on defense to start here. It'll be your orange team, Disrupt will be your blue team. Let's get into the action here and see what Beast Coast is going to knock out. Coastline bans going to be a little bit more free-flowing, still sticking to the normal meta in some respects, but drifting quite heavily from it in others. Not so much going to be the case here when it comes to our first ban, though. Ace getting knocked out, one of the few viable hard breachers for the very small number of situations where it's required on this map, knocking him out, making it that much more of a pain, and forcing some of those players onto Hibana if it's going to be brought at all.
All right, well, Ace and Thatcher are both removed, and that's something that we don't regularly talk about when it comes to Coastline, so more than likely we'll have Hibana along for the ride for the offense, but could see some Kaid play coming in as well, just because of that Thatcher ban. Will my being removed as our first defender, and our last one being Mira. So the stage is set for Coastline here, folks. The bans are in, and we are ready to go.
Nothing too crazy on the ban department overall there. Like we said, the Ace one being pretty straightforward. Thatcher, Wamai, and Mira being the usual suspects for bans across North American Rainbow Six Siege right now, as we see them pop up in nearly every match or every other match for the most case, with Mira, I think, popping up a little bit less occasionally than she used to, but on the maps where she needs to be banned, like on this one, because it kind of activates the play potential inside one of the 4 sites. You'll still see her banned out pretty handily. Getting into the first round, though, we're going to go to a kitchen service defense for Beast Coast. We'll also get a 6th pick from the Malusi on sipping there over to the Valkyrie.
Yeah, and Valkyrie, an operator that I feel like we don't get to see enough of. She has one of the highest ban rates right now inside of the NAL, and you can't exactly blame them either. I mean, Valkyrie's kit is just so potent, given the black eye cams, as well as a solid SMG and a nitro cell as well. She really has everything at her disposal that you could really want inside of a defender, and that's why we see her played so often, usually getting worked into lineups whenever she's available. So we'll see if that assists them. How we would suspect inside of that info, or Sippin will just try and get aggressive outside. But switching gears here, jumping on board with Disrupt and looking to what they will bring to the table. And it's going to be a lot of soft destruction, as you would expect on a map like Coastline. They're mostly going to want to prioritize the top floor, especially on this kitchen offense, break that up and try and limit what these defenders can do, especially these anchor players.
So nothing crazy going to be going on in terms of the overall setup. You will notice, of course, since we have the Aruni in play, that Surya Gate's going to work its way onto the main kitchen doorway, one of the harder to access, I guess, portals for the attackers to try and use to take site control there, and that Surya Gate's going to make it even more annoying, either having to dump a form of utility or just take the hit on the damage, trying to run through that in a late round execute. You'll see one on the Sunrise Bar too, so most of those gates going to be focused on prioritizing stopping the flow of players, whether an upstairs to downward take on cool vibes, or of course, just pushing straight through into the Sunrise Bar.
Well, 45 seconds off the board now, and Disrupt has began the clear of the upstairs. As for Beast Coast, we've been looking through this setup for quite some time. They prioritize the double bar area with a setup with Aruni looking into there over towards Office, but it seems like it's going to be Disrupt to strike first. J9 with the first frag. He'll take down Fozo, who is playing White Stairs. And so far, so good for Disrupt. This has been regular everyday clear. They haven't even been pressured on any of the staircases just yet, but Beast Coast doesn't exactly have to give up too much. They've already lost Fozo here. They're going to try and force them onto timer, want to try and delay them as long as possible and attempt them or try and force them into some mistakes.
Anthony continuing to wait out pressure from the upstairs portion of the map here, considering that Disrupt now have full control over it. Any point now, they could start to see that skeleton key be used to tear out the floorboards, and, well, there it is. But at the same time, Sippin is going to take out another member, or rather trade out, I should say, a member of the Disrupt squad there, as J90 will get down, finally getting revenge for the loss of Fozo that happened about 30 to 40 seconds prior. Going to be in even terms, down to a 4v4 here now. And Iconic starting to throw some execute utilities, some flashes, and try and see if there's ADSs in position, more than likely, down below there, through the hole he's made on the top down. Oh, gonna take some heat, though, as finally the return fire comes in. I believe that's Anthony, who's been holding this angle for quite some time. Iconic not able to return any of it to the Beast Coast side of things, and Sippin taking contact, nearly getting a nade for his troubles there, but able to dodge it from Retro. The problem, oh, never mind! I said he wasn't gonna be able to dodge Iconic, but he was, and in fact turns it back around to knock his head off.
Well, that turns things completely on its heels until Mark and Shuttle have something to say about it. They have two big frags that actually flips us around on its head once again. Disrupt in the lead, and they have an opportunity to try and get a round win here. Ghost currently an extended roam, or can't even really say that. He's more or less just left the site. He's actually sitting in courtyard right now. It's only Anthony left alone inside of service for the time being. Another EE1D in, but Ghost capitalizes on Mark down to the 2 versus 2 as the plant starts by the kitchen window. They get the audio cue as Shuttle will be holding things down for Kitchen Hall, but he's downed as well. Anthony cleans up the kill, and Beast Coast with some nice frags in the mid round there, able to claim round 1.
Indeed, the mid-round pickups, especially the one against Iconic, saving that hold on the inside of the site. Nearly losing control, however, just a couple seconds after that due to some great trades coming out from Disrupt to the front lobby. But thankfully, the other kills they'd picked up prior to that allowed Beast Coast to still maintain leverage inside of the site, with the 2 to 3 players still left standing there because of the fact that Disrupt had failed to actually enter either on the top-down angles or, of course, through the push through the service door. And as far as Sunrise and Cool Vibes was concerned, not a whole lot of pressure on that part of the map whatsoever, so no hope of getting in there. Not the best start for Disrupt, but they're going to look to quickly rebound against a Hookah Billiards attack here. That'll be the next choice from BC.
Yeah, very strong start there for Disrupt, but just could not translate it into anything. They were able to get Buck upstairs on Iconic and start putting some pressure onto Service, but it didn't amount to much. Although he did get some lines of sight there, he ends up getting punished for that. Disrupt battled back with 2 frags of their own, like you were talking about inside of lobby, but that's not going to amount to much either, mainly because the plant doesn't really have the best cross being held. Beast Coast were ready for them to try and put a plant down low inside of the 2v2, so they set up to try and handle it from multiple angles, and it just works out extremely well for them. It was mostly Beast Coast just fighting back against Disrupt's angles that win them that round, and that's going to push us on over to round 2. Now, we're going to be switching things up, obviously, since Kitchen was 1 from Beast Coast, so we're headed upstairs towards Hookah. Utility department is looking very similar, all except for Sippin now bringing in the Mozzie.
Well, it's going to hopefully help out with that extra drone presence being used against them. I mean, Disrupt was trying to leverage that for themselves in the previous round. Looking to get a couple of picks, and I think they were successful at least in 1 or 2 attempts of trying to figure out those players' positions, but overall, not successful in getting themselves into the map and trying to take that service control away. This run's going to start out a little bit more promisingly, though. J9O finding that opening pick against Ghost, knocking out the Jaeger, and he might have a chance for a second if he's able to properly predict it as well. Sippin sitting right behind the desk at service entry right here.
No, I'm loving this right now. Good miss drone here, and
an awkward drone.
We're in for a good time. Oh, Mark, has he seen him? He hasn't. Plenty of damage onto him as well. Mark down to a single bullet's worth of HP, and he'll scamper off instead of re-engaging into the gunfight. He goes for a different angle, but he ends up getting taken down. The nitro cell to clean it up, and Sippin gets away scot-free as of right now, but no! Instead, Iconic swings, Sippin ready for it, and it's a double kill. Instead, Disrupt's offense falling apart completely inside of the first minute.
Great read by Sippin right there as well. The first player he managed to take down even predicted that the rotate would go to the other side of the doorway, so he took up that aggressive angle on the left side there, predicting that, and immediately down. I think it was Mark that took the first contact there against him. So really good stuff in order to make that happen from Sippin. Some amazing impact there to stunt the overall attack for Disrupt. And once again, leave them down a player here as they try to vie for control downstairs and eventually transition that up Cool Vibes into the actual site.
Well, although it is pretty gloomy right now for Disrupt, they'll still have an opportunity here in this 3 versus 4. They have some solid utility still at their disposal, especially when it comes to information game overall with the drones, as well as with the Yana and Lion in play. So they can definitely still find some influence. It's just where these frags are going to come from next. They have to try and take it to Beast Coast, and they can't lose another person on DG. Otherwise, this is probably a lost ship. So as for Beast Coast, looks to mostly for the actual most of the team, excuse me, stuttering all over the place today. Anyways, onto site here, all except for Sippin, who's still on roam. We saw him earlier inside of service with the double, and now it's a triple for him as he takes down J9. He's just disrupting the process that is Disrupt right now. They continually walk into him with these single target engagements. It's just not really working out in their favor. Finally, we got Retro and Shuttle playing closer together. We'll see if they can possibly pick up a frag.
trying their best to work some type of control here, but with only 20 seconds left, they really don't have time to be cautious about their approach. Need to go for an all-in attack here, and there is going to be a swing from Rudy, which is unsuccessful, actually. Retro catches that. Surprised by it, to be sure, but now going to try to make the run to the inside, dumping all their flashbangs to deal with the Surrey Gate. That'll go down, but the problem is there's an immediate flank here from Sippin. He'll get a 4th on the round, and Anthony as well will close out their Beast Coast, specifically Sippin with an amazing defense here and a really solid start to this match at 2-0.
Yeah, 2 all on the defensive side. Those early picks giving Beast Coast the lead they needed to bring that one all the way home. Continuing it is Sippin with the quad. I mean, that round was basically just a Sippin highlight reel as he just waltzed around the entire map. So solid stuff on him and solid positioning early on to know that they might miss drone inside of service, and that ends up begging him those 2 frags. So great stuff on them. But now for Beast Coast, away from the Sippin highlight reel, we're going down to Blue Bar and Sunrise Bar. This is going to be the 3rd site on their site triangle, one that we don't actually tend to complete when it comes to Coastline and just how the offense usually ends up taking the reins and running away with things. But Beast Coast are bringing it back here on Coastline, making these defenses look extremely easy. Granted, it's mostly due to those early picks like we've been talking about before. We haven't had a absurd amount of pressure actually come onto the site players just yet, but we might see that start now with this double bar setup.
Yeah, the double bar setup going to be played, for those who might be newer to see, just giving some extra info, mainly inside of the Sunrise Bar there, due to the fact that Blue Bar is a very, very hard site to directly defend from the inside of, so that's why you see those shotgun holes going down across the lower level of the site. That allows the team, Beast Coast this is, to extend into service and kitchen, play from the front side of the map as well as inside of Sunrise itself, and then extend over into Courtyard if they need to try and punish players taking from the office side of the map, which is generally what will happen for the attackers here. Obviously, they'll reinforce the walls leading directly into the site from office, but that's just more to deter their opponents and waste time, possibly utility, if they have happened to brought a hard breacher as well, which in this case, obviously, they haven't. So,
yeah, no secondary hard breach utility either for any of the ops. So, disrupts will not have any of that. That land will be barren, so I have to find another means in order to get into sight, but obviously being Coastline, not going to be the biggest deal. 30 seconds off the board now inside of round 3 as Disrupt is once again working this top floor as we would expect for Coastline, especially given the positioning of the current site. Iconic more than likely worried about somebody inside a kitchen, and that's why he'll begin to break up the VIP floor. It's actually going to be Rudy down low. He's been signed out as well from the drone. He'll burn his nitro cell and actually deals 50 HP's worth of damage to himself.
Oh, no.
Down to 1 HP now. Rudy rocking a hard play. Stun grenades pouring in. But before he's actually dead, Sippin picks up yet another frag on the other end of the map, taking down Iconic.
Spin is on a tear right now. 7-1 on the scoreboard here. Still losing a teammate, though. Shuttle is going to be able to pick up an exchange, bringing us back into a 4 versus 4. Shuttle will back up, though, not seeming to be too keen on aggressing against Sippin, and to be honest, is probably a good choice. Meanwhile, Rudy is surprisingly still alive due to having stayed in that position, and seems I spoke too soon, unfortunately, as Mark is finally going to take him down. More than likely when Rudy tried to swing out there. Sippin finally going to get down here as well by Shuttle, who's been holding control of that front doorway. Anthony looking to make impact to start to turn this back around as he goes for the pull door window. But at the moment, not able to find anything. And in a second, he's going to get himself droned out. Still, though, oh, the timing was so unfortunate on that drone. Mark rounds the corner, and Anthony gets that pick from the window just before the drone spots him out. Someone's going to come over there to try to put pressure onto him now, but I think it's a little bit too late.
That might be the game changer here for Beast Coast if they can keep Ghost and Anthony alive. Anthony's still with plenty of smokes, be able to handle a push here in the dying moments of this round, but they have to get it that far. That's the biggest deal for the moment. Still so much utility for Disrupt as well, so they'll be able to get through this laser gate and actually start to put pressure on these site players now. Smoke grenade still going out for Anthony as Ghost is playing around the kitchen area, currently manning the kitchen door as the last EE1D comes in. That's going to be Shuttle. Actually applying some pressure from kitchen here, holding the cross so that he can't actually go to assist his friend inside of the actual bar area. It's now a triple here for Shuttle as Anthony's got grenades and everything else in between being chucked at him. He knows that Lion will be coming in from behind very soon. Nice stun grenade, doesn't actually mark him. It's a triple now, fully stunned out. Shuttle with the quad, and Disrupt get away with round 3.
Disrupt, nicely played here as they're finally going to be able to leverage themselves an attacker-sided round after some good beginnings, and more importantly, dealing with Sippin before he was able to go off again as he did back in round number 2 there. Beast Coast, of course, still in control at 2-1. But Disrupt now on the board in relatively solid fashion off of that previous round. However, Beast Coast, that was the third point on their triangle that Stokes was mentioning. An issue of teams being able to go all the way over to that due to the fact that defensive-sided rounds normally don't trend too heavily in their direction on this map. So Beast Coast able to work their way towards it. Doesn't go too well, but now they unlock Kitchen and Service, and they can return to play into that yet again. Goyo is going to be 6-picked in this time as well for Fozo as a new addition is added to the defensive lineup.
Okay, we'll have to see what they want to change up with that. The last time we saw Fozo apply a decent amount of castle barricades to the Sunrise Bar area, I believe they had one on the Towels door. I didn't see where the rest of them were, but obviously we won't be able to see where those are this time around either, as we will be bringing Goyo along for the ride. That's going to mean 3 separate shields that the offense has to deal with. Beast Coast going for more of a utilitarian setup here. For Kitchen, still going to have the Aruni as well, so they'll have to deal with those Saria gates. But that last round was simply a more calculated Disrupt, just taking their time, seeing how Beast Coast are going to respond to their actions on the map. And what we saw exactly what happens when Beast Coast gets aggressive up against a Disrupt that's going to be more patient, especially from Shuttle's perspective. I mean, Shuttle time and time again, just knowing what the next move is for BC and making the right move when it's necessary.
So round 4 getting started. Another opportunity for Beast Coast to reassert control, especially if they're able to win out these sites they've already taken. But the Disrupt side of things here, they're looking to change their own fate, start to really take control of this half, as they would generally expect to be able to do on the attacking side of Coastline. But so far, a lot of issues dealing with that extended roam game here, trading out far too many of their players and leaving them with not enough of a force to push in the late round. Good attempt from J9O to make impact early on here as Ghost catches the plot just in time and is able to fall back to the inside of the site before getting forced out by a player inside of Sunrise.
That was very dangerous there for just 1 second as Disrupt switch up pacing yet again and immediately assert J9 into Sunrise, but doesn't work out for them. Able to get some damage off onto Ghost and at least some info that they can work off of, but that's going to be it. The rest of this round, it's going to be back to drones, back to basics, one could say, but just as soon as we say that, Sippin's going to get in an engagement, or at least just a pre-fire through a wall into Hookah. Able to get some damage off onto Mark, but not enough to call home about just yet. They'll reposition down low here and continue to put this pressure on Disrupt.
Bit of an awkward situation for Mark there, as he was just trying to make a hole in the wall with his gun and ends up nearly losing his life as a result of that one. But once again, no kills being found as of yet, and about halfway through the round here, making it pretty uneventful for everything we've seen up until this point. Anthony will hear that hop in, obviously realizing it's a drone now after the shot, but his position will be revealed. J9O will be aware of it, as well as others trying to work their way in for Disrupt, and even better, Iconic found the first entry. J9O gets the lockdown onto another player sitting by the front lobby still. Sippin is still trying to defend from up here.
And Sippin's actually going to reposition upstairs, and Beast Coast currently with so much top control. Rudy's still here manning the kitchen window. I think Anthony's actually the only one down low, and oh my god, this could be the biggest problem ever. Anthony's the only one. He's been taken down inside of Service. They know where the rest of Beast Coast is. The plant's going through. They flood in through Sunrise, get kitchen control, and the plant's now down inside of the kitchen site. Disrupt with full control and not a single Beast Coast member home. They have to try and hop down and reclaim everything. But Shuttle's still manning the roof, and it's going to be another triple for him. 2 multi-kill rounds in a row. Round 4 goes the way of Disrupt.
I think that might have actually been a quad for him. I don't know if he got both of the kills the first time we checked him out, ripping up players trying to work their way off the balcony, but either way, impressive round from Shuttle, and a big mistake in that final 2vx to hop down while he still had presence upstairs. I believe they may have thought he would have rotated down to help out in the post plant by the site by then, but no reason for him to do so. He still had a good 3 to 4 players manning the site at that point. A misplay there from Beast Coast on their roam game, and that's going to cost them another round as Disrupt bounce back into this one with a quick tie at 2-2.
That's going to be really, really tough for them, especially rotating Sippin back upstairs and having those 3 members play around like the VIP area. I just don't think that they exactly understood the situation that Disrupt was going for. And obviously the Sunrise push worked out with convincing fashion, I would say. And the thing really for Disrupt being that they were able to get some really good information on what the situation had been looking like on site, not only from that round, but the rounds prior. Beast Coast really putting forth effort to the outside of the building and just these extremities that really aren't on site, leaving it down to usually 2 to 1 person inside of there. And that was probably something that they had identified throughout this game so far. Saw Rudy, or excuse me, not Rudy, but obviously Anthony being the only one inside of service, and just capitalized on that situation. So really, really solid stuff there from Disrupt, and they're going to equalize here, bringing it to that 2-2.
Beast Coast thought they could win on the rules of the high ground, but they forgot the roof existed. So as a result of that,
there's an even higher ground.
There's an even higher ground that it's on top of the building. So Shuttle will be able to shut down with that position any attempt on the Beast Coast retake in that previous round there, although did have a hope of trying to work their way back into it. The sudden loss, I should say, of the site, as well as the shutdown of any players rotating from upstairs, made it nigh impossible to do anything for the retake back in round 4. Doubt they'll make the same mistake again. Let's take a peek here and see
let's
how
be
exactly
hopeful.
round
Let's be hopeful they don't make the same
that's
mistake.
what I said doubt. But we'll see how round 5 here goes. It's thankfully they're defending upstairs this time, so immediately that should be much less of an issue than it was in the previous round.
Yeah, absolutely. Disrupt are going to get J9 in early on once again here, so we could have a nice frag, but Beast Coast being smarter about the situation this time around. Sippin does not want these early engagements. He's been doing this for most of this game so far, so obviously you got to change something up eventually. Sippin continuing to find these early frags, and we see him still 7-0-3 as of right now. The only person in the entire lobby combating him for the moment is Shuttle at 8-0-2. To jump on board with J9 once again, though, he is taking control of top white and is currently droning. That's going to be more than likely full top control here for Disrupt. As actually note, they still need to drone out over into Aqua. Don't have VIP either, as Ghost will be playing that area. J9 will have some support by seemingly a man inside of Guitar, so we'll have some players around this area, but they're going to have to vie for not only VIP, but Aqua control as well.
So Retro continue to rotate in here. Has a slight angle to play off of there. More than anything, just kind of tearing open some of the self-destruction that's still sitting on that rotate hole to make sure no one is crouching or going prone, trying to surprise the members of Disrupt when they actually commit to a swing in a couple minutes here. But either way, down to just that single minute remaining here, and it's been a much more passive round than we've already seen played out previously. Disrupt being very careful not to step into the roam game improperly against Beast Coast, and Beast Coast being a lot more restrained with their play in general over the course of this round, due to the fact, firstly, because we're on hookah billiards and you can play a lot more site-centric here, but also because of the fact of what happened on that previous round here. Anthony's taking a lot of heat as the nade gets cooked onto him, but thankfully not going to fully knock him out. He's able to dodge the large majority of the damage and prepare for the execute, which needs to come in at any moment now. Double charge is going to be sent out there by Mark, and he'll take up the window position, trying to catch players on the rotate hole. But so far, nothing presenting itself. And no execute still from Disrupt either, as we approach that 20-second marker where they're going to be forced to do it just out of the pure necessity of time.
Beast Coast, zero utility now as they get rid of that last smoke. Ghost dies as well. Disrupt swinging through hard. Retro finally putting this case down as DG just have every single avenue locked up. But oh no, Anthony makes the push and he makes the play. The case not being overwatched from Billiards double. Smoke simply walks out from behind his counter, downs the man, and walks away with a round for Beast Coast. That was not how it was supposed to happen for DG.
And that, unfortunately, is the problem with trying to play down to those low-time situations. They knew Anthony was there. They had thrown nades directly at him, and I think at least fired a couple shots at him in the midst of that execute. But unfortunately, still not able to stop him because they never took full control of the site there and were never really able to try to pinch in an earlier portion of the round. So he's allowed to hop over that bar, swing over, get the single shot he needs onto the bomb planter, or excuse me, the diffuser planter, and then work his way into a safe position to play out the rest of the round. Since at that point, there's only 5 seconds left. It's a simple process of denying, and it works out great for Beast Coast there, even though Disrupt had a very promising execute with that little time left.
Oh, so promising. Able to force Beast Coast back into a corner and then actually execute. And not only execute, but execute extremely hard, as Beast Coast didn't have any utility to try and fight back, especially, as we were talking about before, baiting out that last smoke from Anthony. So they don't have any nitro cells. They really don't have any utility to try and fight back with. It's simply just gunfights at that point. And even those started to trend towards Disrupt's favor. We saw Iconic get a nice pick from the VIP hallway. We saw some nice gunfights from Mark outside on the hookah balcony. But all of that was for naught when it came down to it, simply because no one was overlooking the most important person on the map. And at the end of the day, that's Disrupt's fault, no one else's.
All right, so for Disrupt, aiming to fall behind here, although only slightly inside of the first half. They'll have their last chance to make an impact on the attack right here as we go back down to a kitchen and service defense for the last time. Beast Coast losing this one on the previous run here, but looking to make a quick rebound to solidify their 4th round inside of this half, which would be a very promising start for them coming off the defensive side coastline. Attacks were the issue for them in their previous matchup, though, so we're going to have to see if things have improved, either by the nature of playing on a more attacker-centric map or just overall things they would have improved in practice between yesterday and today.
Well, we're faced with our last round here before we switch sides and hit that halfway mark. Kind of a quiet second part to the half here for Sip, and 7-0-4 hasn't been able to find a frag since those earlier multi-kills that we saw, but obviously that could change at any moment. We can see Disrupt being more patient as what we'd been seeing in the past, or semblance of previous rounds where they were able to actually take these wins, just able to find some early engagements onto these Beast Coast members where they've either overextended themselves or the gunfight just doesn't really fit them. Able to capitalize on that and get those leadoff picks that have been able to find them those handful of rounds here. But as once again we are at the beginnings here, I don't expect Disrupt to push too far past that upstairs area. They want to clear this out once again and try and put pressure onto Beast Coast. That's how they've been finding these rounds before onto these sites. It's just mostly been, well, especially inside of that last round, the site players they've had trouble dealing with.
So a minute and a half left inside of the round.
Okay.
Bit of a tepid approach here for both of these teams, as neither one wants to take a risk, but Disrupt, they saw the issues with that type of playstyle in the previous round here, of trying to literally wait until the final second to make any aggressive action because Beast Coast had not been playing against them, and unfortunately, due to the fact that Anthony was left undealt with, they still ended up taking the L on that one. So trying to change that up here. A little bit more aggression starting to work its way into the round. Now that we're getting down to that final minute, they have the VIP top control. They can use that to breach down, but as you can see, not revealing anyone on the side of Beast Coast as of yet, not forcing them out into an awkward position. So they're going to stay strong with 5 players up and alive. That may start to change over the next few moments, though, as Disrupt are starting to poke and prod their way in.
Well, previously it was the kitchen hit from Sunrise, and now it's looking more like a service door hit. They have pressure upstairs, but once again, Anthony kills Iconic on the vertical angle. Not Iconic once again here. I mean, you thought he could do it, but they actually have some more support, and it's Shuttle. Oh my, from that top angle, able to find 2 and secure the plant for Retro, but he's actually going to get flanked. Sippin takes him down into the 3v2 in Beast Coast's favor, but with this plant now in Disrupt's control, they can simply play defensively. Mark's already worked his way over towards lobby door. He'll find a big frag onto Sippin. Fozo trying to find the refrag, but he has no idea where Mark even is. Ghost runs out of service, takes down yet another, and he's actually simply playing outside the door, trying to bait, get some good info on Retro, who's now in a lot of trouble by himself, and Ghost simply standing outside, baiting Retro's entire focus, allows Fozo to rotate in behind him, and it's going to be a 4-2 split here on our first half.
Great play once again from the Beast Coast there, becoming a really hard force to try and contain as they once again swerve their way back into the site to be able to retake control and win out for a second time. Over, I believe, a 66% win rate on that site inside of that half there as they played it out 3 times total. Great stuff from them, and even better, it gives them that 4-2 lead that we were just talking about. That's a big deal coming off the defensive side of Coastline. Now they just need to capitalize upon it into the second half here with 3 additional rounds, and the map is theirs. They'll pick up another win here against Disrupt and push them down further in the ratings. For Disrupt, though, they are also jumping on the defense, and they'll go to a kitchen and service defense, hopefully with a chance for themselves to rebound here also.
Okay, well, the side switch now for Disrupt, as you were saying. We're going down to kitchen. And this is not looking like what we had seen in the previous setups from Beast Coast at all. These guys are going to be bringing the Vigil along for the ride. No Oruni. They will have the Jaeger, but they'll also have Mute as well, instead of something like a Mozzie. So we're actually going to have both of the SAS operators here. So we'll have to see what they want to try and utilize them for. Obviously, Mute more than likely going to be for drones, as well as maybe some panels that they want to just have some, insurance on, but more than likely just drones, given that it is coastline. Looks like we're going to have a full top hold here of Hookah, so we'll have to see how this breaks down, but this is definitely starting to make a lot more sense given J9 on that Vigil and bringing that in as the 6 pick.
Let's take a look and see how the Vigil change up, as well as all the other elements playing into this round will play out as Beast Coast spawn, and we'll see them for the most part go for the pretty standard opener here. We're going to have a couple players work their way over onto that Aqua balcony to try and take control away, possibly working in further downstairs too here. They have to be careful towards the Aqua balcony. Obviously, we have the Vigil in position there, being played by J9O, and he's going to be able to lurk downstairs in the office and a couple other areas here too. A lot of destruction still going off, as I believe Disrupt's still kind of setting up for themselves here, if you're wondering what all that noise is. But away from that, 30 seconds going into the round. J9O goes for a swing, and it's a miss, unfortunately. His opponent won't even realize, unless he already had vision onto it, the damage connected. So he'll go down to about 33% of his HP. Probably not going to be able to play too aggressively anymore as a result of that loss.
Oh, and Fozo also going to go down. So Disrupt really taking it to BC for the time being. Sippin still with a breaching round, so he'll be able to get rid of the shield. That'll back off the Disrupt member playing so forward inside of Service. I believe that's going to be Retro here, who's still trying to combat the Service door. Ghost attempting to get rid of the actual Melusi, or the Banshee, excuse me, but not able to do so. There's too many ADSs there, and it's going to eat up all of that utility. And that's already going to be all of Ghost's utility gone inside of that lifeline, as well as all of Sippin's breaching rounds. He'll still have some breaching charges if they want to try and get him in upstairs and have some effect on these site players.
There's Mark, or excuse me, Retro with another nice pickup there. I was about to say Mark. Couldn't even see what he was leaning into. But either way, Retro finds the pickup here as Beast Coast are struggling to make any sort of impact in order to get map control for themselves, let alone get close to the site here, as they're down to 3 now. Both Fozo and Sippin have been eliminated. Sippin, arguably one of their most influential players inside of this game, so relying on the exploits of Anthony as an example in order to pick up the slack here now. It's really been him and Sippin doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Ghost's been picking it up as well over the past couple of rounds here, as he's finally starting to heat up, although it's going to cool down pretty quickly there when Shuttle makes the swing onto him to take him out inside of round number 7.
This has just been a textbook round so far from Disrupt. Haven't even lost a single member, and the only member that has true damage dealt to them was just by a pre-fire swing. He ended up getting caught off guard by it. And now it's down to just Rudy and Anthony for Beast Coast. And with such minimal time remaining, there shouldn't really be a way that this can go their way, but we'll leave it up to the Rainbow Six gods. We don't want to try and take anything away from these guys, but as soon as I say that, Iconic will take down Rudy. It's a 1v5 with less than 30 seconds left for Anthony. Currently inside a theater. So he's going to work his way towards top white. Melusi there, Iconic on point, and that's going to be another flawless round here for Disrupt inside of round 7.
Disrupt making a statement here on their first round of the defense. No players going down, and for Beast Coast, nothing even really getting started, if we're honest with ourselves here. Beast Coast barely able to get into the building, let alone get close to the site, as they try their best to vie for control against the DG members, but just that very well weighted aggression from them, especially with what we saw, for instance, with that swing over towards the VIP window, is just unmatched against anything that Beast Coast tried to bring to the table on their own aggressive front inside of that round. Now, it started a little bumpy there. J9O, for instance, his swing over by the hookah window, or hookah doorway, I should say, didn't go that amazingly, but thankfully the rest of his teammates were there, and we saw more aggressive tendencies leading to a lot of success for the team later on in the round. 6 picks are going to come out. We had a clash lock initially there for Shuttle, but that's going to get changed over towards a Valkyrie. Rudy had one, but seems he's decided not to use it there, as he'll just insta-lock into his already picked operator.
I was going to say, if it's not broke, don't fix it, but it seems that, like, it could possibly be an issue, you know, like maybe you might want to change something up, but I honestly just think it's the engagements that Beast Coast are getting right now. With the lineup that they have everything at their disposal that they need to hit any site here on Coastline, really. Especially given that they have Rudy and Foes of the Lion. Dokkaebi combo is something that is old as time now inside of Rainbow Six. We all know this one. It's extremely annoying to deal with, and they're using it extremely well. What I noticed inside of that last round especially is that they used Rudy early on to clear the top floor with their drones. They get their drones set up, then have Rudy call immediately to see if there's anyone playing the areas, and just use that phone call to really clear a lot of those rooms so they have some early intel as to what's going on inside of the map. And it's just such a smart thing to do, especially given how much info utility they have with that trio, I guess you could say, with the Yana coming in as well.
So a couple seconds off the clock already. Disrupt, as we've already seen, tending to play a little bit more aggressively, but probably not this early on, considering Beast Coast are only just starting to work their way into the map. We'll start with that roof hatch breach and a couple drones working their way through VIP, as well as the bedroom and theater as a result of those drones. And they won't find anything, as I'm sure you guys have already seen from the top-down view. That means Sippin can walk right in, take the free control for himself and the rest of his roster. And, okay, never mind. He's going to die pretty quick here. Shuttle apparently has a winning nitro cell. More than likely was a Vout cam somewhere in that room, and that's how he gets the intel that are just playing off sound in order to find that very great opener against Sippin.
Coastline became a scene from Indiana Jones so very quickly. That was not to be expected, but now we have EE1Ds coming in, dope calls, everything in between right now for Beast Coast to try and get a frag back, but they can't do it just yet. Not solid enough inside of the intel that they can actually capitalize on, and that's the biggest issue. Just throw the EE1D out there as well as the phone call, but truly no info on where any Disrupt or, yeah, truly Disrupt member that they could actually end up getting a kill onto. So now they're left in this awkward state once again. They're down Sippin, but obviously in a better state than what we saw in the last 30 seconds in the prior round with that 2 versus 5. So still have some chances here to battle back, but that doesn't mean that Disrupt is going to be slowing down anytime soon. We can see that they're still on the prowl all around this bottom floor.
Rudy with a slight angle to the inside of the pull window here, and Retro nearly contested it, but he's going to be stable behind that deployable shield he's got set up for himself, as well as a couple pieces of utility to fend off nades and any attempts to breach down the wall. Now, thankfully, don't have to worry about that latter problem, as there's no hard breach at all on the attacking roster right now, but they're certainly going to be a little bit more alive here. We can see Fozo and some of the other players trying to rotate into positions to take control now, since once again we've come down to that oh-so-infamous last 40 seconds to a minute here. Beast Coast have to start playing more aggressively now just because of the lack of time, and hopefully they'll be able to work their way into the site this time.
Well, it all starts here, John, inside of office right now for Beast Coast. And it's going to be small beginnings here, as they need to try and be forceful, get one of these frags, but Retro from downrange, this 1.5 is just too potent. Finally, somebody able to find the refrag. Anthony gets one, goes still with the plant here. Able to find one, another one yet is Anthony inside of Blue Bar, as finally the rotates are coming through from Disrupt. I assume they didn't know that the plant was going down, but they definitely do now, and it's going to be a huge problem here for them. Shotgun out, actually ends up downing Anthony. Great check here. Nice hot ping, but Rudy able to get the refrag, does a crap load of damage to J9 as well. Shuttle looking worse for wear, but J9 now done, dusted. Rudy with 2 to seal the deal, and Beast Coast walk away with round 8 of a low time to execute.
Beast Coast respond back with their own victory here, slowing down the pace, not trying to clear as heavily as they had in the previous round, and focusing more on the objective points. Most notably, that solid push to the inside of office, which enough pressure netted them the capability to get a plant down on the ground this time and hold it, as I'm sure you guys saw as well there in the post plant. Disrupt trying their best to work their way back in, but the plant happens so quickly that they're not really in position to immediately start the retakes. They have to try and do it in direct nature, and by the time they begin contesting from that soft wall, as we saw the first pick come from the shoddy, there's already counter angles being established from the outside window to shut those players down as soon as they even get close to the diffuser. So very well played there by Beast Coast. A very quick response and a very needed response, as they were just about to lose their lead. They'll keep on to it, though, reset the advantage to the same place we were at the beginning of the half at +2. Now with Beast Coast, however, only 2 rounds away from winning the match.
Yeah, and what a fantastic reset from Beast Coast there. That's the main thing for me inside of that last round. They lose Sippin early on, but they're able to translate that into a very basic office take. Clearing through there, just simply hold blue bar window and try and slap a case on the ground, and it works out for them. There was really no other aspect to that one. They simply frag their way through the door and utilize the smokes to get the plant down. So solid stuff from Beast Coast to still throw it at the site and hope that it stuck, because that is how they got that last one. So going into round 9, looking in between these two, Disrupt upstairs inside of Pent. This is a place that we don't get to see too often, and as we heard Blue talking about inside of our ban phase, something that we don't see too often, especially without Mira in play, and that's simply because of that theater area where we see Maestro. You're going to need those Mira black mirrors in order to have some vision into the actual penthouse area, because penthouse is so very dangerous to play. We don't see very many people stay here for very often. Might get some peeks off the bomb chassis, but after that, they'll want to leave the premises, because once people start getting control of guitar and bathroom and all of these other areas, that's where you run into a lot of trouble. But as we can see for Disrupt, that's what the main game plan is hold down VIP. This entire wall has been destructed. They want to make sure that if the only area that they get is actually penthouse, they are in a kill box. They have to try and battle up against Mark and the rest of these Disrupt squads, or Disrupt members, excuse me, throughout the map in order to get this plant down inside of the penthouse area.
Bozo and Mark, and seemingly an endless battle here by VIP, but in another exchange, Retro is going to come out on top. Disrupt with, I believe, 3 rounds in a row now where they found the opening pick, and on this round, the opening 2 picks apparently is Mark finally able to isolate out Bozo after a solid 30 seconds or so of them fighting. This frag grenade, though, could trade him out, and there you go. Nice plays from Anthony. Ghost returns the favor against Retro also. Both of those kills they suffered losses from a moment ago have now been traded. Really heads-up play there from Beast Coast to bounce back into it so quickly.
Yeah, especially Anthony with the frag grenade. That's a way to try and get a refrag, especially when you really don't have an opportunity to do so through, traditional means. So, nice stuff from them. But now, hopping back here, minute and 18 seconds will remain on the clock. Beast Coast still with a solid advantage walking into these last dying seconds. Rudy with some pretty solid positioning that we saw inside of the bathroom. I don't necessarily know if they know that he's here just yet, but could catch them off guard. And as soon as I say that, it looks like they're going to actually not read it out correctly. Rudy swings out with a G8, able to claim a life. And now Beast Coast fire ahead here. Rudy's positioning too strong and unbeknownst to the last remaining Disrupt members, but still with a lot of time on the board to work through this site, see where these remaining DG teammates are, and try and get this case down. That's what the main game plan is for them right now, but they need a nice crossfire in order to do so, given that case control is actually in Rudy's hands. Anthony now going to be able to clear out things with Aruni's hollow, run into the hallway. Iconic will clean that up, and now he knows where areas have been cleared out for Beast Coast. Looks like VIP is going to be the priority, so that was illustrated pretty well from that hollow as the plant starts now.
15 seconds to go.
That will go down. Doesn't seem like there's a whole lot. Oh, never mind. Nitro Cell saves the day there from Iconic. That's going to deny the plant from Rudy. Shuttle as well with the double pickup as he continues to reign supreme inside of this matchup, winning out round number 9 for the Disrupt cam. Very well done, and an instant shutdown from him as his opponents are forced into an execute there after losing the initial diffuser plant attempt.
Oh no, that was so rough there for Beast Coast. They have everything going their way. Rudy gets some solid positioning inside of the bathroom that Disrupt didn't truly know anything about, able to find the frag inside of theater that they needed for the plant attempt inside of penthouse, but Disrupt just too solid inside of the low time play there. The Nitro Cell saves them from the initial case plant, and then we see the cleanup with the 81 from Disrupt. Very solid round for them, and what a bounce back, especially on that penthouse setup.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attack.
0-6 pick gonna work its way in here from Beast Coast. Will have an interesting development. Haven't seen Zero picked up yet inside of this game, although we have been seeing him make choice appearances every now and again on specific maps. And I believe I have seen him picked by another squad on this map previously. I think it was Dark Zero, but memory might be a slightly fuzzy
Nah, you
on
got it.
that
You
one.
definitely got it. Eclipse played him.
Oh, nice. My brain's actually working.
I don't even know why I know I don't even know why I know that Eclipse played him, but when you said it, I was like, yeah, Eclipse played him. Yep.
It was on this map.
Yeah, it was.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either that or we're going to get
Right.
the angriest Twitter post later on. Either or.
Really,
you know.
really happy with that. I don't know, my brain's working properly today because usually those are just complete guesses and they're usually wrong. But either way,
Isn't that like half of casting? Don't tell anybody. Shh.
yeah.
Attackers are moving.
If you can manage your notes properly, you could probably be a god at referencing that kind of stuff. My notes are just a disorganized mess. It take me like 5 minutes to dig through it and find that statistic, and obviously we don't have time for that. So we'll get back into this matchup though and take a look at the opening action between Beast Coast and Disrupt on round number 10 here as Beast Coast starting to play out. You can see at least one of these Valkyrie cams having worked their way outside. And this used to be a pretty popular thing to do. Still is, to be fair. But because of the lack of any IQ picks recently in the meta, these cams are actually going to be very, very hard to spot. Normally, IQ brought in specifically to counter out this type of play. But obviously, it's not going to be an option currently for Beast Coast.
Well, we did see here there just for a split second on Rudy in the prior round, but as you said, gonna have the change up. We're bringing in the Sam cams here with Sam Fisher, and what a distraction! What is that? Oh my! Rudy baits
was actually
out
amazing.
Valkyrie with the Sam cam, and Ghost just deletes him. And oh no, not like this! What is going on right now in Coastline? This is an absolute madhouse. This is a clown fiesta.
This round is absolutely crazy right there. But what a bait to use the Argus cam on the wall. They probably had drone until that was the only player defending Hookah as well. Mark with a great bullet hole lineup as well from the inside of Blue Bar. Punishes the push from Anthony into Sunrise and downs him. That's more than likely going to put us back down into another even 3v3, assuming they're able to confirm the kill. No one nearby to res Anthony from what I can see, so he'll more than likely stay there until at least he can crawl outside. No one from Disrupt, surprisingly, going in to finish that kill, so I think they want to be cautious of the body being baited for that purpose. So looks like Anthony will get back up after all, but obviously very, very low and only at 20 HP.
Well, the good news is that they'll have the opportunity to continue to use that hologram, which is worth its weight in gold if it even does weigh anything. I'm sure you guys will let me know about that one. But either way, Disrupt, I have to be very worried about what Beast Coast can do with now 4 members still up and about. Shuttle with an opportunity of a lifetime here if he can get a flank to possibly go off through office, but could simply sit inside of security and wait to see what Beast Coast's next move is, as they really haven't put too many advancements on the map just yet. Mostly centralized around the sun bar / double bar area. They will miss drone shuttle inside of lobby, but won't actually be able to clean up that kill. Assuming that they heard the SMG-11 go off, though, they'll know where he is. But in comes the rush here from Beast Coast. They're going to insert Rudy in to the counter plant. We haven't seen one of these in a little while. He's actually going to drop off as the smoke grenade comes through, taking quite a bit of damage. He can't find any safe harbor. He hops back into the smoke, and he's now downed himself. Rudy, they do have the cross for him, but there's a very low time now. They have to try and pick this case back up, but Disrupt are getting away with this once again here, folks. The smoke too strong from Retro, and it seals out all of Rudy's plant potential. They can't get it down, and that's the equalizer for DG.
So much building up there for the folks on Beast Coast to specifically that great entry they got into Hookah using the Argus cam as bait, but unfortunately not able to follow that through into the actual site where the earlier issues they ran into, such as the quick trade from Disrupt, as they found another very nice, by the way, quick nitro cell toss, I think off of some intel they got either from a Valkyrie cam or somewhere else onto the floorboard to take out that player and immediately reignite the potential for them to win that round, as we saw them eventually follow through and do as they just bunker themselves into the site, played out the time. This is an issue here for Beast Coast as they are having trouble breaking open these anchor-focused site defenses from Disrupt when they decide to pull their players back and play in the site. Beast Coast just not always able to work their way past it far enough to where they can leverage a plant, as we've seen a couple times now, it getting denied and ultimately the time running out, netting the round over to Disrupt.
Yeah, the big issue inside of that round simply being just the smoke play. You know what I mean? Like, without smoke being there, they more than likely win that round. But him simply having utility still and being able to smoke off the sink area was just way too big of a deal. Beast Coast could not try and do anything else. There's no other safe avenue for Rudy to rotate to because he can't try and push to like the back of kitchen or something, right? Like he's obviously going to die to somebody in service. So he has to try and find some safe area around that sink to attempt to put a plant down. But he can't even do that. Like every space that he finds, he continues to take damage or get shot. Eventually, he just loses the case. It was just very, very rough in the last moments there for Beast Coast, but yet again, they have another opportunity. It's a fresh slate, folks. We don't have to talk about round 10 ever again for Beast Coast because it's on to round 11, and they're going to have some game-changing shifts all across the board here, John. We actually dropped 3 operators from the last round to this one. Fozo, Rudy, and Anthony all going through the changes. We now have Sledge, Capitao, and IQ back in play.
Yeah, IQ coming in specifically for those Valcams, and there is one lurking in the midst of ruins somewhere. I don't know if it has the greatest amount of vision. Yeah, we can see it here right now. You can only see one player, and there you go. Foz will walk in. The IQ is in play, so more than likely Shuttle's going to realize that this plan won't play out as well as he had been using it for previously, and will either adjust to a different operator in the next round or decide to use those cameras a little bit more focused on the indoors play, depending on how he wants to take it, of course. But that being dealt with, Beast Coast don't have to worry about aggressive play against them from the windows anymore. They are going to be free to start their initial push, which looks like it's going to try and put pressure onto the pool door here, but some other areas will need to be taken control of as well if Beast Coast want to have a successful take.
Yeah, well, we'll see if Disrupt can possibly stop that from happening, as that's their main game plan as of right now, and it's been working out pretty well so far. 43 rounds on their defense so far here on Coastline, and that's not something that we get to say too often, but it seems to be like it's changing more inside of recent history, where Coastline is becoming a little bit more viable for these defenders. Beast Coast, though, with a nice pickup onto Retro. We'll get that lead off pick once again here. We'll see how this actually translates into the late round, as that's going to be the mute off the board. So one of those nitro cells removed and a possible plant stopper as well.
As Beast Coast continue to work their way in and take control, they have opened up the route towards the default plant. Now, Anthony, of course, making that quite easy with the sledgehammer being available. But of course, the resistance is there in kind from Disrupt, and they'll be ready to stop that with smoke play and everything else they have to utilize here. Jane, I know, in fact, getting ready to start chucking Toxic Babe down here, but at the same time, Rudy also having the micro smokes to block off the soft destruction leading out to the courtyard. And Rudy will actually go for a relatively deep plant here. Disrupt able to trade out one player as Sippin's going to go down. The plant will get interrupted as a result of that also there, as they temporarily cancel it, calling it off here. No one else picking up the mantle. Jane, I know, did go down in the process too, but he's got a fully reinforced wall to play off of. So going to be able to get him back up. And I mean, look at this close contention. They know there's nothing in the front lobby, so they're okay to just sit right here, have this lineup. Iconic rips 2 players to shreds. Ghost will get the trade, and in fact, Ghost gets the second. But can he get these other 2 kills with his teammate in the next 3 seconds? That's the question. There's one. Does he get the other one? He's literally on top of him, but he can't get it done. Ghost finds that 1 extra kill, but the time runs out as Disrupt take control of the round.
That's just uncanny that Ghost is like, where is this guy? And he turns around and he's standing right there.
You literally stepped on him.
Oh my gosh, that is so unfortunate for Beast Coast, but it happens yet again, folks. Disrupt 3 rounds in a row now from the defensive side here on Coastline. And what a round that was from DG. Now, on the side of Beast Coast, main mistake there for them truly wasn't that big of a mistake. We'll talk about it for a second. What happened there was Beast Coast gets back off simply because of the utility usage coming through from DG with the toxic smokes, as well as some nitro cells coming through. But after they back off, BC doesn't really hold, any line of sight to make sure that Disrupt can retake space, or can't retake space, excuse me. And that's exactly what they do. They just reclaim all of Blue Bar, and Iconic just simply hops on top of it and waits for them to try and re-enter into the room. That was it. That was all they did. Besides that, I mean, it was just the last remaining Beast Coast members being on some other supporting angles where they weren't really able to get back in time to get the case. So instead, they have to go for the frags, and obviously, we saw how that one went. Ghost was able to pick up the Valkyrie, but not the last kill. That was so pivotal to claiming that round for BC. Disrupt 3 in a row.
All right, so Disrupt here winning out so many rounds on time due to Beast Coast losing their plant attempt at the very last second. It's been such an unfortunate few rounds for them, and they definitely needed to take that pause here to figure out how exactly do we rebound, and more importantly, what do we need to focus on heading into overtime, as that's what Beast Coast need to be focused on now if they want any capability to work their way back into this game. Disrupt sitting at 6, just need that single round to close out here. Beast Coast obviously will need to respond We're going to go to a hookah billiards defense as well, the go-to site for so many of these teams. Disrupt should be more than prepared to defend this. It's just going to be a matter of if they can pick up the frags against whatever Beast Coast's strategy will be for this upcoming round. Iconic still going to bring in the Valkyrie, though that operator has changed hands from a different player that it was on in the previous round here. More than likely, we're going to see the strategy with the cameras change up in kind as well, since that IQ is being brought. Beast Coast, though, choose not to bring it a second time, as they're probably assuming as well that they're going to go away from those more aggressive cameras pretty quickly after an IQ pick had happened.
I don't think that there's a single person that would turn down playing Valkyrie. I'm just saying. Like.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's why she gets banned in most
exactly
games
right.
Now, so.
She's no matter what. You know, if you're like, what's the last operator that we should put?
Oh
this
no.
Oh, speaking of lineups, Mark with a nice pop outside. He kills Ghost, and that's going to be one of the main fraggers as well off the board.
That's Mark's like third or fourth Nitro Cell kill in this game. I think he's actually been tearing it up with that so far here.
Are you saying he's putting on his best Tom Brady impression?
Yeah, man. He's got some winners that are being sent out there today. Scored a couple touchdowns with the football. That sounded so bad. I wanted to make it sound bad, but it sounded even worse than it sounded like.
It was so bad that it was good, John. Don't worry.
Yeah, I wanted to make it sound like I had no clue what I was talking about, and it somehow sounded even worse than that. Like,
man, I can't wait to put some field goals in with that football. You know.
Yeah, like I wanted to say like
it's technically skin, right, but it's still cringy. It's still very cringy. And speaking of cringy,
right.
we're just having throwables. It's between the football players and baseball folks here today.
We're actually just switched to like World of Tanks now. We're just playing an artillery game between these two teams. Everybody trying to launch mortars at each other right now.
Oh my goodness.
And so far it's working at the beginning of the round. Both players losing a man due to utility here, as Ghost will get knocked out by that Nitro Cell at the beginning. J90 in kind getting knocked out by the frag grenade from Anthony. So just like so many rounds in the past of this matchup here, we are going to be locked in a dead heat as we come down to that final minute or so of the round.
Yeah, these two squads just really waiting on that timer into the later rounds that we've been experiencing. And I think it's mostly due to the respect of what both of these squads have been able to do so far. You can see they're trying some more creative ways to be able to eliminate each other with yet another nade coming from underneath. And this is going to deal so much damage to Retro. He's going to place the smoke down, but oh, he is in it to win it right now, but he doesn't have the angle. He challenges all of Billiard's window, and Anthony claims him from the upside down rappel. They're not going to have the Overwatch inside of Billiards anymore, but the case is still being stuck. Can they stop Bozo? They can. Shuttle gets it from down low, and Mark, with some solid positioning here, should be able to hold on to this case. Rudy and Sippin, though, might have something to say about this. They're both upstairs, but obviously one of them will have to plant the ARX. Too damaging to Mark. The headshot will get it done. They know Shuttle was downstairs. Currently 18-1-5. One of the best games I've seen him have in so very long, and he'll need to have a greater round here to seal this out inside of regulation. He deals damage to Rudy as he skimpers on out of Aqua. He'll be playing the balcony here. Could possibly get unrepelled. Still has a cross angle to worry about from Sippin as well inside of VIP. This case currently down inside of Billiards. I do believe that it's planted on the bomb chassis, if I'm not incorrect, but either way, Shuttle has to win both of these disengaged 1v1s. Oh my, a pixel off of Rudy's head, and he would have had that. Beast Coast able to win it out with some very solid positioning, especially the Billiards window taking out the smoke player.
It's a little bit of an anticlimactic finish, but I mean, honestly, credit to Beast Coast for not playing into their ego. They're trying to take the peaks against that last man alive, because Shuttle has been firing on all cylinders this game. They realize his consistency in 1v1s is nearly unmatched right now, and they also realized off of the audio cue that he's got an Alda. So, generally speaking, they don't want to mess with that. They sit back, they play it to the far angles here. They're going to force him to either make a massive run where they would have plenty of time to react and shut him down there in order to pick up that kill. Really well done by Beast Coast in handling the 2v1 and making sure that the clutch didn't come out from the most influential player inside of this game on Disrupt right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is that Shuttle is continuing to find these frags from a supportive place. It's not that he's truly being the hard entry or anything like that.
Dude's almost got 20 kills.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is really reminding me of, it happened quite a while ago, but for those at home that have been longtime Siege viewers, this is a big reminder of how Shepard used to handle things here on Coastline with Lion as well. A lot of supporting angles, lots of just cutoffs where you simply could not get past that man, and he would rack up kills like crazy. And that's kind of the semblance of what Shuttle's doing right now. Obviously, he's doing it his own way, and there's going to be some varying factors, but still, nevertheless, great stuff here from Shuttle, but they're going to need more from him inside of this overtime. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is not infinite overtime like everyone loves to talk about. Just remember, this is 3 rounds here, so whoever is going to win the first 2 rounds wins the match. So we'll see who can possibly get to 8 first as we start off with Disrupt on the offense.
A little crab walk going on there for our Jaeger as he's trying not to get shot from the player outside of the kitchen window. You can see just on your kind of far side of the screen there. But either way, beastcoast still with a very spread out setup for this opening round of OT. Quite a few roamers off on their own right now, including inside of office. Over towards the top of the main front stair is also another player present there for the beastcoast. As they're looking to make impact in the early round once again. Whether they'll be able to accomplish it or not, is yet to be seen as we continue to play things out inside of our first round of OT. Both these teams looking to really solidify things, especially on the defensive ends of this matchup here, where both of our squads have been winning quite a few of their rounds with 4-2 halves going into both of their pockets.
Too many people been getting blown up, so obviously J9 is now going to consider things before he actually attempts to walk inside of Aqua. And he's completely correct in doing so, because Sippin's down low, and not only that, but he has a nitro cell on the ceiling to kill anyone that dares step foot inside of Aquarium. So going to avoid that like the plague, as we're already halfway through this round, and it's been pretty slow so far for both of these squads, just mostly posturing and trying to get at one another. We are going to have J9 finally rotate through Aqua. The sound cue not helping out the Beast Coast squad, as that nitro cell will go wide, and Disrupt have full control of the top floor. This is looking super solid for the offense as of right now.
Disrupt being set up for success here, but once again, timid because of that roam game, which has been so present for Beast Coast, waiting for the top-down players to establish positions as well, and probably waiting for a bit of that utility to be thrown out. A nitro cell launched right at Iconic's feet, and thankfully, he's able to jump, avoid outright death there as he still survives it with about 20 or so HP remaining. Rudy going to try to get aggressive, and he's already played from this position once. Counters out the drone. They try to use it as bait. Doesn't work as well as they would have hoped. And Rudy finally getting the angle he's been looking for a couple of rounds here. J9's head getting ripped off. The smoke charge going onto the door to prevent a push to refrag that pickup. Fozo was lost as a trade, but he hasn't been fully down just yet. And the body's currently being baited, so it'll remain there for some time. With 20 seconds left, really no time to get that player up, as they know Disrupt are going to be executing soon, and they want to capitalize upon that. There's the finishing blow onto Fozo. Retro and Shuttle with 2 more pickups. The round's turning around all of a sudden here. It's up to Anthony, the big player on the field, as well as Ghost, who's been helping out a lot in that respect. Plant going down for Retro, and Shuttle and Iconic close it out with 2 final kills. Disrupt pick up the opening round of OT.
And that's the nature of the beast when it comes to Coastline. Once that top floor goes away, if there's solid positionings and solid overwatch on service, it's going to be really hard for you to try and actually get in and combat any sort of plant. We saw multiple attempts from Beast Coast members to rotate out, try and get in some gunfights, try and find a pick to slow down this offensive DG, and all of it was all for naught. It really didn't amount to much. They were able to try and get some smokes down to at least prevent the case from going anywhere, but even that was a little less than what was actually needed from them. Disrupt with a great run over the round there in that one, especially with that top floor control going into Iconic's hands. Now we're switching gears though, folks. As with overtime, only 1 round, and then we switch sides here. So DG onto defense, and they'll be allocating themselves towards kitchen, whereas Beast Coast looking back over to their offense. We've seen quite a few different looks from this lineup, so let's give it a good read here. Gonna have the Nomad coming back in for Fozo. Rudy will have the Yana. Sledge in play as well for the top floor control, and then Ghost and Sippin to use at their own leisure for not only destruction of possible bulletproof materials, but as well as some possible floor/wall destruction as well.
So Disrupt is shooting out a lot of those holes and setting up upstairs for the fend off against the initial take that would more likely come in from Beast Coast. And traditionally, as you guys have probably seen a couple of times by now, a lot of these attacks start from the VIP hallway. There were the guitars inside of it, as well as the hatch in the bathroom directly to its right. Roamer's usually wanting to set up this kind of hard lock bunker on the inside of theater, play that out, and try to find the initial picks before funneling back downstairs to the actual site. Disrupt, of course, looking to defend the very same site that Beast Coast just picked up on the previous round also.
Well, both of Beast Coast wins coming from rounds where they planted. So we'll see if they can possibly get that case on the ground once again here for Kitchen. So far, very nice setup here for Disrupt. They'll be holding on to theater, as well as some other aspects of that top floor, just trying to limit Beast Coast as much as they possibly can. Really set them back on time, and that's exactly what they need to do. We saw what Disrupt was able to do with truly only a minute and about 20 seconds there, as Iconic was able to break in a little under that halfway mark, and they were able to take the entire round because of it. Able to break things up, get more intel on that side, and eventually work their way into all of those frags. So, Beast Coast now not moving the goalpost too far ahead as of yet. Currently focused on theater here. You can see they've gotten a good read on what J9 is doing in this area. Frag grenades and everything else in between. And yeah, that's the utility usage going to be coming through for BC as they pop that shield and make life extremely difficult for the mute in theater.
J9O going to take a lot of damage as a result of that one, losing about half of his HP, still with a position to play off of from the back of the theater, but not seeming too keen to stick around here. He'll already begin to fall back, completely rotate out of this one. Shuttle will be unaffected by that concussion now that it's worked its way in towards the inside of theater, but again, nothing being presented to the Disrupt roster here. They're going to get a little bit antsy and begin the full rotate back downstairs just in case something was being worked against them that they weren't aware of there, since they hadn't seen actual peaks come out from any of the members of Beast Coast. So they will take control of that one. They've got the top-down angles, and Shuttle had the right timing, but he misdrew there. Unfortunately, put away the Nitro Cell, and even when he chucks it out, he's going to get picked by Anthony before he can hit the trigger button.
Very unfortunate, but both of these squads still with an opportunity here. Disrupt can possibly shut it out, but the pressure is starting to mount from the offense. They've got that full top control like we've been talking about, and they're starting to utilize it. Get a good read on where the smoke is as well as the hollow runs in, but solid positioning from Rudy. He'll claim the life of Retro, and it's a 5v3 right now for BC. Still with some solid advantages towards the defense, but they are just dwindling down here. Lots of damage dealt to the last two members. One of them will actually get cleaned up, but no, it's actually J9 to take down Fozo instead and make this as effective 2v3. Mark tries to battle back. He'll take down Rudy, so 1v2. Make it a 1v1 for J9 now, and he still has a Nitro Cell at his disposal as well. He cannot get up his friend. They're going to have to try and challenge here. The M590 can't get it done, and Anthony wins out the round. Beast Coast with some very scary moments there, but still able to get it done as they force us to our last round here on Coastline.
J9O, unfortunately, just a tad too aggressive in that situation there, trying to capitalize upon what I believe he thought was a res happening in the midst of what was going on beyond that softball there, but ends up making a hole, does do some decent damage, but unable to fully take down Anthony and close out on the round. So as a result of that, Beast Coast get their response, take us to a fully loaded 15 rounds, and of course, take us into that final round to see who's going to come out on top. It's Beast Coast for the defense, Disrupt on the attack, and this one round settles everything. Important to note, guys, for the overall standings inside of the NAL, once again, only 2 points going to go to the winner for this one instead of the traditional 3 that would be given in a regulation win. But at the same time, the loser is also going to get a single point because they've made it to OT in comparison to where they would normally get 0 for a regulation loss.
And depending on the results of Dark Zero today, that could mean if they are a top 4 squad or not. So we'll have to see which one of these squads can not only take the win here, but will happen for DZ later on today. Anyways, folks, jumping back into this last round before Coastline is completely done, and we find out who our winner is. That previous round, Blue, Actually, quite back and forth, I would say, especially with how the top floor was handled for BC. I'd say they handled it quite well. There was really only like one aspect that they could have possibly utilized to help themselves a little bit more there, but the push was still super, super solid. Got them all out of that top floor. Really, the only thing I would have liked to see besides that was possibly somebody playing the white window, so they would have had the cutoff for when those people fall back, maybe get some of those frags, but it really didn't matter at the end of the day when it came down to it. Beast Coast still able to clutch out the round. It was just a little scary instead of those dying moments, as Disrupt still seemed to have some fight in them, and they definitely still do coming into this round. They've got J9 inside of Sunrise already here, as well as Shuttle back onto that operator we've been seeing him run throughout the day so far, the Lion. But a big pickup already happens for Beast Coast. Rudy, with a double punch on the bottom of the door, crawls out, actually, or crouches out, excuse me, and is actually able to take down Iconic on the VIP Balk, and that's a big frag going down on the Disrupt squad.
Oh, the timing for J90. So much of that inside of this game for some reason. I don't know why it keeps happening, but so many players just getting caught with their pants down, as we see right there. Fozo catching an opponent. I think even seeing him before actually committing to that drone toss. Oh, the response from Shuttle. Just spamming in off the E1D. Finds Fozo through the floorboards and takes him out. Oh, what a play from Shuttle to respond right back and try to put Disrupt on solid footing inside of this round.
Attackers have located a bomb.
I don't think that that's one that they teach you at Academy. I don't really know. That was something insane there from Shuttle, able to get that refrag. Good info.
What's the
from Disrupt.
what's the kill record, by the way? It's more than this. I know
24.
that. Yeah.
24.
Okay. Well,
So he would.
let's see if Shuttle goes off here, gets 4 kills.
Yeah, he would have to ace out the round here, and if he does that, that will be something unheard of. We did get
It's
the
actually
ping.
26.
Is it 20? Is it 26 now?
According to Jesse.
Oh my gosh. I don't remember the 26 skill one then. Either way, Disrupt though, still with this 3 versus 4 going into the dying moments here, but this is exactly what we expect from either one of these squads on the offense. We haven't seen truly an early execute happen for either team just yet. Looks like we could have possibly Retro making a play on the hookah window. Frag grenades in, not going to swing. Although there is a lot of people waiting with open arms right now for him on Cool Vibes. Shuttle also going to be providing the pressure down low to try and find Ghost here on Vibes.
Ghost continuing to just wait out the time. They've got the ultimate advantage. A 4v3. They can afford to lose a player virtually for free here. Obviously, if they'll be able to trade some damage out in the process, that'll be even better, but not a lot of worry right now for Beast Coast coming down to the wire. Ghost will get spotted. Not a big deal for him. He already knows there's presence downstairs. He's going to start to worry now because he sees it's Shuttle who finds yet another kill. This could still happen, but no, Shuttle shut down. Sippin with a double pickup as he also punishes Mark right after finding Shuttle. Everything falling to Retro, and he's not going to be able to get it done either. Anthony with the final kill will give the game over to Beast Coast as they take it in round 15.
What a game from Beast Coast, but you also have to give some sort of hype over towards DG. I really can't think today, man. My brain is just off. Either way, what we're trying to get at is DG, fantastic game for them, forced us into overtime. BC, though, able to edge them out, and really, it was just a back and forth game the whole time. Truly, Beast Coast, I think, winning off of